How do we get out?
I think you have to find an intermediary, first of all, someone who is not part of the problem. My personal preference, if I were advising the president, is to call Prime Minister Modi in India. Now you can say, well, he was just in Israel. Well, that's fine. He has good relations with Israel. That's not a bad thing. He also has good relations with Iran. He's never been an enemy of the Iranian people. Neither are the Shiite Iranians his enemy. He knows that. And he has reasonable relations with the Chinese. They have their differences up in the mountains, in the Himalayas, the Hindu Kush, and that is a legacy of British colonialism. But my point is that he's historically leading a neutral state, and a neutral state that is growing in stature, in power, in influence and importance. We should recognize that and welcome it, not treat it as a problem. And I think if President Trump talked to him and said, look, we need to end this. And somebody will say, well, why do you need to end it? Because if we don't, we're going to hit $300 per barrel of oil. We're going to watch 60 to 80% of the stock value crash. People are going to lose trillions in wealth. It will be a disaster. And it's not something we'll recover from. We've already seen that the Israelis hit a refinery on the outskirts of Tehran. And what did Iran do? They destroyed the refinery and its supporting infrastructure in Haifa. How does this help us? How does this help anybody? The damage that's being done is going to be semi-permanent. And by that, I mean it's going to take years to recover from this. The Qatari government has said we're shutting down. We can't store anymore. We can't drill anymore. We can't refine anymore. I mean, this is a catastrophe. We look at this and say, well, only 3% of our oil comes from the Gulf. Well, I got news for you. 50% of it goes to India. 50% goes to China. 70+% goes to Japan. Mid 60% or so, 64, 65% goes to South Korea. Now, did we call the president or the prime minister of Japan? Did we call the president of Korea and say, by the way, we're considering a war against Iran, action against the Iranians? And we want to know what you think the impact will be on your country because you are friends of ours. You are our allies. Did we do that? I don't think so. I think we are acting like the biggest bully in the schoolyard. The hell with everybody else. This is what I want. And I'm going to pound your face into the dust. I mean, we've all seen those people. They exist. I grew up with some of them, had the crap kicked out of me once or twice at recess. I know exactly what that is. Well, you can't do that in international relations for very long before people gang up against you. We already have this thing called BRICS, and we seem to be determined to destroy that because we see BRICS. And right now it has, 10 members, something like that, and there are 50, 60 standing in line ready to join. We don't like it because they're looking at potentially gold-backed currency. What a novel idea. And if it's not gold, it'll be gold plus, maybe platinum, silver, who knows, other precious metals. And we're saying, well, this is a threat to us. It's a threat to our petrodollar. Tucker, we're killing the petrodollar right now in the Gulf. This is going to end this very lucrative cycle where we buy oil, they take the dollars that they get from us and they reinvest it in our country in a place called the bond market. Not anymore. And that's one of the engines that drives our economy. We've thrown all caution to the wind. Think of any number of worst case scenarios and they are on the horizon. President Trump is still president of the United States, not president of Israel. And he has to think about the consequences here at home for us, for the average man, not for the billionaire class, the Epstein class, for the rest of us. I don't see that we're thinking this through. And I don't just blame him because he's had wholehearted support from everybody on the Hill. Don't believe any of those Democrats from Chuck Schumer to Slotkin to any number of them. Oh, I was always against it. Really? Well, you sure as hell aren't on record, and things are getting very bad. Eventually, I think members of his own party will desert him, if he doesn't find an off-ramp. So back to your question, step number one, find a mediator, somebody that they will listen to, because no one is going to listen to us. Yep. If you're an Iranian, would you pay any attention to what we say? How many times have they been attacked in the midst of negotiations now? Twice. Why would the Russians pay any attention to us? This is a catastrophe. And if we do nothing, eventually we will wake up and discover there are some aircraft in the airspace over Iran. They're probably Russian. And they probably will put up something similar to AWACS. And if that shows up, then the message is stop. And the question is, what do you do? You know, we used to have this thing in the Ranger course. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. It's below zero outside. You're in the mountains and snow up to your rear end. And somebody walks in and says, you're now the patrol commander. You're now the platoon leader. Where are you on the map? What are you going to do now, Ranger? I mean, that's kind of where Donald Trump is headed. What's he going to do then?
I mean, clearly the wise course at this point, since it doesn't appear to be a way to open the straits using the U.S. military, is to try and decelerate to find that mediator. But the hitch, or one of them, is Israel. I mean, if Iran remains intact with a functioning government that is a direct descendant of the previous government that we tried to overthrow, we wound up killing the wife and the child of the current Ayatollah, apparently. That government will acquire nuclear weapons. Why wouldn't they? And will dedicate itself even more resolutely to the destruction of Israel. So if you're, I think, why wouldn't they? And they've said they will. So if you're Israel, you cannot allow that. You can't have a ceasefire and leave this government intact. And that leaves you no recourse but weapons of mass destruction, does it?
Well, it could. There is also the other possibility, and that is that, as the Pakistani government has said, they will provide a nuclear weapon to the Iranians. Now, the Pakistanis have always had a very close relationship with the Turks. And that's one of the reasons that Erdogan, who's the ultimate fence sitter, never quite aligns with anybody. And it's worked well for him, by the way.
Yes, smart.
I don't think he can do that much longer. Has always said, we're not afraid of you, because the Pakistanis have made it clear they will have a nuclear weapon if they need it. In fact, the exact conversation was held back under the Obama administration. And I think it was the Deputy Secretary of State who was there, and he said, what do you do if Iran gets a nuclear weapon? And he asked the Chief of Staff of the Turkish Armed Forces, and he said, well, that's not a problem. He said, why not? Because Pakistan has said they'll provide us with a nuclear weapon if that happens.
Yes.
This is your logic.
Saudi Arabia as well.
Yeah, and this is your logic playing out, exactly what you described. So you really want to stop this train now that's headed down the side of a mountain and doesn't seem to have any brakes. So you've got to go to someone who can stand in there. Now you've got to tell this man, what are you prepared to do? You know, are you prepared to cease fire immediately? Which is not difficult to do, because we're talking about air and naval forces. If you had 800,000 men under arms on the ground in a massive army, that stopping everything is very difficult. But air and naval forces can immediately disengage, pull back.
Yep.
That can be done. Are you willing to do that? And if you are willing to do that, what should I ask the Iranians to do? You know, the first step is to get this fighting to stop, because of exactly what we're discussing. It's going to run out of control. And I have worried from the beginning, because I have people in Israel that I cared about very much, some friends, and they're all angry with me because I'm not unconditionally supporting what they're doing. And I told them from the beginning, I don't think this will work, and I do not think this is in the interest of the Israeli state. And I have said, if this goes to the inevitable conclusion, Israel may not survive this. And I think the hatred, the hostility that is growing in the region, not just against us, but especially against Israel, is just earth-shattering.
Yes,
it's beyond anything anybody has ever seen. It needs to stop now. I hear all these people worrying about anti-Semitism. Well, if you're worried about that, then stop doing what's going on. That's the quickest and easiest way to try and bring this under control. No, their thinking is, if we kill everybody that doesn't like us, we'll be fine.
Yeah, that attitude doesn't have a good track record. That's self-defeating.
Most security systems operate like old-fashioned cable internet. They're installed in one place, they're tied to one address, and if you move or your job moves, you got to start over. But that's not how other people do it. Construction sites, ranches, large properties, they have a better way. They need cameras that are portable, not tied down to one location. Defend security cameras are the perfect solution for ordinary people to do this. With Defend, you own the camera. You're not renting it like a modem from a cable company, and you're not locked to a building or a Wi-Fi network. The job moves, well, then the camera moves with it. That's a better way to do things. No power lines or infrastructure of any kind is required. These run on cellular, like your phone. They're perfect for watching job site equipment overnight, livestock at your ranch, long driveways, outbuildings on your property. You mount it where you need it. You open the Defend app and you are set. You got clear footage, night vision, alerts straight to your phone. Defend never sells any data to anyone, not tech companies, not the government, not China. Plans start at about $5 a month. There's no contract. You can cancel at any time. Visit defendcellcam.com today. Defendcellcam.com.
Thanks for watching. You can go to tuckercarlson.com for our entire library of everything we've done, and we hope you will.